What's going on, everybody? We are back for another video. This time we got to do our week 1 predictions. We've done a lot of videos throughout this week, and I almost forgot to actually do the first week's predictions. I guess based upon what I said for my league play predictions, you can kind of guess where I'm going to go with a lot of these predictions. So this video in particular will just be North America plus Europe combined for the first weekend because we're running out of days to post videos. So we'll put this up Saturday morning, and we'll just make it quick. We'll go through North America. We'll go through Europe. In the future weeks, there'll be 2 separate videos because we will do a recap of what happened in North America, followed by predictions of North America, and then same thing with Europe. We'll do a recap, followed by predictions. So that'll be at least 2 videos a week, and then we'll see what else I decide to do for the rest of the time. But on that note, let's get into predictions. First week, it's going to be interesting because we don't really know exactly how these teams are playing all that much. We have Pittsburgh Knights versus Flight. 2 new roster moves here. Memory coming over from Ghost after getting kicked from Ghost to, I would say, upgrade Flight a little bit. But, you know, as we talked about in our predictions, I'm not too excited about Flight season this season coming up. So I think Pittsburgh Knights, even with AJ being brand new, I think it won't be too big of a problem. And I think Pittsburgh Knights will win this one relatively easily, but we'll see. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, and a lot of that was because of Pittsburgh Knights last season. So that this could be one of those moments of like, all right, we're going to start off with a bang and have Flight have a huge upset over Pittsburgh Knights, but I doubt it. I'm going to go clean sweep. I'm going to go clean sweep for PK here over Flight. I guess we'll do it like this. Yeah, we'll do it like that so it works a little bit better. Next up, honestly, probably another 3-0 like Energy. They just lost in the Astro tournament. I'm recording this the day after that, where they lost to Cloud9 in Game 7. But I'm not too concerned about Energy. Like, the online tournaments are not the same. The one-off or minor online tournaments are not the same as Rlcs. Energy should be just fine. Afterthought coming in, I think it's pretty big underdogs for the season, not only for the season, but obviously they're playing the world champs. So Energy opening up their season with I would say a gimme from Sonics, but we'll see if that actually happens. I'm going to go another 3-0 here. I think it's going to be a relatively quick day. And probably by the time of this recording, Afterthought will have announced their org, but I'm recording this on Tuesday afternoon, so hey, sue me. So Energy, I think, again, probably a pretty comfortable 3-0 there. Next up, E United versus Cloud9, and this is where things get a little spicy. I feel like these 2 teams in the middle of the pack, and I think, honestly, any match with Cloud9 and G2 in week 1 or even the next few weeks is going to be interesting to see, do they bounce back? I was actually kind of hoping Cloud9 and G2 wouldn't play in anything before going into league play, so we could be like, oh, will they bounce back? We'll find out here. Instead, Cloud9 played in the Astro tournament and did pretty well. They made it to the finals, lost to Ghost Gaming. So I think some people will be saying Cloud9 is a little bit back. There was, some best of 3s mixed in there, some early round matchups that probably shouldn't have happened, so, take it for what it was. But I do think Cloud9 is going to have a better season this season. And I think E United, while they did make the World Championship last time, I was hoping that they would have made a roster move, try and upgrade this roster to continue that momentum. But on the opposite side, I'm kind of glad Cloud9 didn't, because Cloud9 has all of that experience, all that that veteran leadership where it's like they do this all the time. They go to lands and they perform. They had 1 bad season. 2 bad seasons, all right. Now you really start worrying about it. But obviously, this match is pretty juicy because Cloud9 tried to pick up Hoxer, supposedly. Look, all the pros were saying that Hoxer was going to be picked up by Cloud9, and they were very shocked that Torment was still there. Supposedly because of an E United block, and honestly, I don't blame E United. They definitely need to keep Hoxer to be competitive. But I don't think Cloud9 is a bad team, and I don't think there's any bad blood there with Torment going back to Cloud9. These guys have been around the block forever together, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think Cloud9 wins this. We'll go 3-1. I think I'm a little bit, down on E United. I don't think they're going to be incredibly strong, but we'll see. So Cloud9 with a 3-1 win there. Next up, Space Station Gaming versus Ghost Gaming. This is turning into the match of the day. Just because of the Astro tournament where Ghost Gaming wins the entire thing. Space Station won the last Astro tournament. before that. So the two most recent winners in North America battling it out. It's going to be extremely fun to watch. Space Station, I am really high on them this season. I think that they're going to do really good things. I think Arsenal is one of those game-changing players that can really elevate Space Station to the next level. I know he didn't win an MVP or anything like Sipical, but I personally think Arsenal's the best player on that team, and he makes that team tick. And I think they'll do it again here. Mist joining Ghost. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Obviously, they just won the Astro Tournament. Does that matter? We'll find out here. Ghost coming in with a decent amount of momentum, while Space Station went out early in that tournament. But I'm still going to go Space Station here. I'm going to go 3-2. Why not? Like, I probably would have had it a little bit more one-sided for Space Station if Ghost didn't win the Astro Tournament. But we'll go 3-2. I think it could go either way. But I believe in Space Station. Finally, Kronovi versus his old team of G2. Rogue versus G2. G2 normally gets the better of them. G2 obviously had a miserable season last season. Finished in 8th place. But at least they won the promotion tournament. No roster moves there. For Rogue, they lose AJ, but they gain first killer. So they probably lost their best player. Like, in terms of when AJ pops off, that's when Rogue can really contend for, like, a top spot in the world. So they lost that flair, but they picked a first killer who should bring a lot of flair as well. So first killer, there's a lot of hype surrounded him. And normally when people just come in directly to the RLCS, they actually do pretty well. Speaking of, like, Atomic last season with Ghost. So normally when players like that get picked up and skip the rival series completely, there's a reason behind that. We'll see if that reason unfolds here, but I don't think it will. I think G2 takes this win because, again, if you saw my predictions, I'm pretty high on G2 for this season, and it's got to start somewhere, right? So I'm going to go a 3-1 for G2 over Rogue, and Kronovi will not get any revenge today. So that's it for North America. We'll see how it goes. 1 game a week for the first 3 weeks for everyone, and then we start getting into 2 games for 2 of the teams each and every week until we round out all 8 weeks. It's going to be really fun. Another note, again, like I'm probably going to say this a lot early on, we've expanded to 10 teams. What that means in terms of placements for regionals and all that, things have changed. Top 2, they still get their World Championship bid. They finish at least top 4 in the regionals. Top 6 is still the same. Then it gets a little bit weird where 10th place, they get automatically relegated to the rival series. So again, every match is so important. When 2 teams that are near the bottom or you think are going to be near the bottom are battling it out, it's like that win could be the difference if you're in RLCS Season 10 or not. Then 8 and 9, they play in the promotion tournament. Number 7, they don't do anything. They just go play golf, and they get to go to RLCS Season 10, but they don't get a chance to go to the World Championship. So there you go. That's NA. We'll move over to Europe now and continue this train here. Europe is going to be fun to watch as always. Like, Europe's always interesting because I feel like things can get a little wild in Europe. It normally doesn't happen in North America as much, but, you know, it happened last season. But we'll see this season because I do feel like Europe, we talked about this a lot in my predictions of, like, I feel like there's a clear set top 4. And now I don't know what order they're in. I do think that they are the top 4. So if any of them lose to the other teams, I'm going to be pretty surprised early on, or at least minorly surprised because we haven't seen them play. But I think those are the games that I'm looking out for. Will one of those top 4 lose to one of those bottom 6? So let's get into it. Reciprocity after winning the European Championship. Well, after that, it didn't go so well for them at the World Championship, but they did have a pretty tough bracket. But still, Reciprocity wanted more from the World Championship. They face Singularity, the last team basically to make it in to the RLCS. And again, it's an expanded season. It's going to be a lot of talks about these 3 new rival series teams come in. Like, do they have what it takes to contend, right? I don't think it's going to do much here. I think this is a 3-0 for Reciprocity because I think Reciprocity is still a really good team. And they will continue to show that. And they didn't make any roster moves, extremely loyal to each other, and we'll see how far that takes them this season. I feel like if they have another bad season here, then we might see a roster change, but we'll see. But I don't think it starts here. Next up, Vitality. 1 goal away from winning the World Championship once again, but it was a shaky season, a very inconsistent season. They gave up the most shots per game in Europe, and that normally, before last season, if you finish in the bottom 2 for shots per game, none of the teams ever made the World Championship in Europe or North America. Last season, Vitality plus Veloce were the bottom 2. They both made the World Championship, so that streak got broken. Normally, that leads to bad signs where you're losing a lot of possession, but I think Vitality, their defense was so good, they have such good defenders, that it kind of worked out for them. One of those defenders is now gone in Scrub Killer, who I think is one of the best in the world at that position. They pick up Alpha, who had a shaky time on defense, in my opinion, when he was on TSM. But that could have been because he's so focused on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see how it all plays out. Alpha and Vitality could be the scariest thing ever. It could also be like, well, why did they get rid of Scrub? We'll see. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. I think because they're playing Endpoint, the new kids on the block, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue here. I'm going to go 3-1 just because Endpoint has really good offense, and I think they will be able to capitalize and get some goals and make this probably a high-scoring series, personally. Like if you have fantasy players, which we didn't really do fantasy this year just because I kind of ran out of time for videos, having 2 kids now trying to buy houses and sell houses, it's been hectic. So sorry, I didn't get the fantasy, but if you have fantasy players, that's probably not a bad matchup to have fantasy players in. I'm predicting a pretty high-scoring game there. It's a little hard to predict in week 1, but that's what I'm predicting. Next up, Barcelona-Veloce, my personal match of the week for Europe, where I think these 2 teams are right in the middle of the pack, trying to fight for where they need to, land. And last season, me and Veloce didn't get along, right? I went 1-6 in my predictions for Veloce. 1-6. Like, even when I picked them to win, the only time I got anything right for them was when Vitality beat them. I'm pretty sure it was Vitality. When Vitality beat them, I'm going to move this up a little bit so we can fit everything in here. So we have some issues, me and Veloce. But you know what? I'm turning a new leaf. I'm going to believe in Veloce until they lose. I am going to pick Veloce in every single match until they lose. I am going to give these boys some much-deserved credit for what they've been doing in the last season and leading up to this season. I'm going to give Veloce some credit. So I'm going to go Veloce. I'm going to go 3-1. Barcelona's obviously got Flakes. I thought that was a very questionable roster move. Like, Flakes is a talented player. Just why would you kick Bluey, the MVP? Seems a little odd, but it could have been things behind the scenes. But I'm going to go Veloce. I'm going to go Veloce until they get beat. So if they go 2-0, I'm picking them versus Mouse. I don't care. I'm doing it. Doesn't matter. Next up, TSM Dig, a rematch of Week 5, a very important Week 5 from last season for both Dignitas and TSM. Basically, Dignitas' win got them into the playoffs. TSM, it got them out of the playoffs. Obviously, it happened later versus Vitality, but still, that was the match. Dignitas is looking like a new beast, and if they keep up any type of form that they had at the World Championship, then this should be a cakewalk. I do question the Magnus pickup for TSM. I'm not sure what else they could have gotten out there, so I don't know if it's like the end of the world. They obviously lost Alpha, which is a huge loss. They bring in Magnus. They obviously have chemistry, Magnus and Metanoris, so you at least bring in chemistry, and maybe it was the best thing that they could have got. So I don't really blame them for the move. I just don't know if the move is actually going to work out all that well because we have to find offense from TSM. We saw it a little bit in the promotion tournament where it wasn't only Alpha doing Alpha things anymore. We saw it a little bit in Week 5 as well. So TSM was slowly getting away from that. But I do worry about it. I do like it is a concern. Dignitas, I think, will walk away relatively easily here versus TSM. But I feel like in Europe, whenever I say easy, it's still like a 3-1 normally because I feel like Europe is always so competitive. So we'll go with 3-1 there for Dig. Finally, Monaco versus Mousesports, the introduction of Scrub Killer, probably. At this point, he's still not announced on the roster. I don't know what Mouse is doing. Maybe they're waiting for 10 minutes beforehand. But I would assume Scrub Killer's on Mouse. And if Scrub Killer's on Mouse, then Mouse is going to be a really good team with Speed and Cooks on that squad. They had a miserable end to their season last year, Mousesports, where they literally lost 4 in a row. And not only did they lose 4 in a row, every single one of those losses clinched a world championship spot for the team that beat them during that match. That's miserable. The other team's going crazy. You have chances to clinch a world championship spot. as well in all 4 of those cases, and you don't get it, that is tough. That is a tough way to end your season. I do think they bounce back with Scrub. I think Scrub is obviously the best roster move that you could have possibly gotten. So Mousesports, I think, will be a big contender, a top 4 contender for sure for a world championship spot. Monaco, it's one of those teams, again, they're coming in from the rival series, and we're going to talk about this probably a lot on the desk. With the expansion, these rival series teams that are coming in, except for Singularity, didn't have to beat an RLCS team to get here. So we'll see how they do. But it seems like it's a redemption arc. You know, Tigre versus Mouse as well. Like Mouse dropped him and moved a lot over to other teams and all that stuff. iGnite will be on a revenge tour throughout this season as well. Being very disappointed that after he got dropped from TSM, no one picked him up. So we'll see if they can show it here. But it's not going to start here. We'll go Mouse. I'm going to go 3-0. I think Scrub's going to have a good game here, and Mouse will get the 3-0 there. So there it is. My predictions for the first week. We barely kind of can fit everything in here. I have to go like in between. There we go. Kind of. It kind of fits. So those are the predictions. Well, I should have put them over here, actually, because it's more white over here. So let's do that so you guys can see it. Those are my predictions for week number 1. We'll look back on them when we go into week 2 for both Europe and NA. And then we'll have some recaps and we'll do more predictions, you know, as week 2. And then we'll have a better idea of how these teams are playing. Now, the beauty of the 10-team league is we're only going to see them each once, which is good and bad because obviously it's still going to take a little bit while to find these teams' identities, to see how they're playing week in and week out, because obviously we've seen it before where teams are very inconsistent, even on the same day when they play 2 games. Now that they're only playing 1 a week, we'll see if who can rise to the occasion or at least be consistently good. And now it's a 9-game season, so whoever's more consistent, you know, slowly going to edge away from those teams that are bouncing back and forth. It's going to be a fun season. I hope you guys all tune in. I believe this will go up Saturday morning, so definitely tune in just a few hours to the first show of the RLCS. We'll have a pre-show as always, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited, and it's going to be a long season, and yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for Rocket League, so let's do it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week with more stuff. And if you have any ideas of what other things you want me to like cover throughout the season for RLCS and like a weekly video that I could do, let me know. I might not do them because I'm going to be busy, you know, 2 kids and everything. It's been a little bit more hectic, but I'm always open to ideas. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you for making it all the way to the end. And we'll see you next time. Bye.